Alright guys, what's up? Jan here. So in this video I'm gonna record me building the second episode of the AI Inbox Manager. So in the first episode, if you've missed it, I'll link it below this video. But in the first episode we basically outlined the detection system. So whenever a reply is detected in SmartLead, we add it to an Airtable, and then also we categorize it with AI. So the AI has now categorized the response as either positive or negative, and then also as either interested, more information, referral, later, not interested, or unsubscribe. So in this video, what I'll mainly be doing is basically going over each of these categories and kind of connecting steps to it. So you can, if someone responds interested, we can follow up with them and say, book a call, or try out the software, or buy it here, whatever it is. Obviously, the best thing to do with cold email is always to book calls. It's the easiest way to then convert someone. But let's say you want to use this system for like a little bit lower ticket software product, for example. Then we can just ask them to sign up right away. Maybe we give them some sort of discount code to entice them to actually do it. But that's kind of up to you. In this video, I'll mainly go over the tech, how that works, and I'll just be sharing my screen and going through everything. I'm thinking this part 2 will do everything, so I'll finish the entire bot. So it's going to be quite a long video, I'm looking forward. So let me just share my screen. Alright, so like I said, we've already built the first part. It's here in make, so it adds sentiment, if it's positive, out of office, whatever, and then a second step. So now what we're doing is going through each of these use cases, and actually I'll also add in out of office since I didn't do that one yet. I want to just start off with the interested one. I think that's the easiest one just to build out. So what we're going to do, obviously, if someone responds interested, that will be someone that just accepts the call to action that we have. So we just want to respond with the next step. So to do that, what we're going to do is a couple of things. So we'll be using SmartLead, and I already pulled it up here. But the best thing to do is use subsequences. It's the easiest basically to put someone in another drip feed campaign. So whenever someone says, okay, I'm open to doing a demo, instead of us sending one email back and then waiting to see if they reply, and if they don't reply, we schedule another email, blah blah blah. We can just have SmartLead do that for us, and then we just have to write out the sequence once, and we just auto-categorize someone and put them in this sequence. So to do that, in your email campaign, sorry, that's my email accounts. In your email campaign, you go to the campaign, and when you open up a campaign, you can see subsequences here. So you add in a subsequence. So I already added one for interested, but I'll just walk through the different steps. So this is the most important part, I would say, for this video. It's the lead condition. So what we want to do is basically have a condition, and if that's met, a lead will be added to this campaign. So what I already did is I added in a category that is called AI interested, and if we assign that, I did this in the first video, if I assign that to a lead, it will be added to this campaign automatically, and then thank you for your interest, you can sign up here, use this checkout code, blah blah blah, and then I just follow up, right? So this is the sequence, so this is all set up. So the only thing we basically have to do is we have to automatically assign this category whenever someone is actually interested. So going back to the Airtable, basically what we'll do is let's say the second one is actually interested. So I'll put it, or this is an out of office one, but let's say it's interested. We want to then tell SmartLead, test@test.com is actually interested. And this can be any email, right? Like this is what we set up in the first. So to do that, what I will do is I'll add a view called subsequence. And then for this, I'll set the condition to be that the subsequence added, which is going to be a checkbox. So what I'll do is filter, and I'll say, okay, if the AI step 2 exists, so if we know what the category is, or is any of, let's do any of the, so if it's interested, more information, referral, Actually, if it's interested in more information, that's probably the ones we'll be doing subsequences for. and this checkbox that the subsequence is added is not checked, then they're going to be in this view. And then, as you may remember from the first episode again, what we'll do is we'll build a little automation that just periodically checks this condition, so this view, and adds it to SmartLead, and then checks off the little check mark to then basically know and show us it's done. So let me add that. So I'll just do create a new scenario, type in Airtable, and then search records. And by the way, the reason why I do it this way and I use search as opposed to, for example, trigger, because I found that triggers are not as reliable. So sometimes for whatever reason it doesn't trigger. Also, if the SmartLead API, for example, throws any sort of error, you basically will never know. And the system can just kind of crash. Well, with this, it will just keep trying. So it's basically like a conveyor belt type of situation. And if something drops off, it just gets picked up again, and you can try again. So I found that this way of building the automations gives you a lot more insights, and also in your Airtable, because you're using all of these views, you can easily see if there's any sort of congestion, right? Like if you check your Airtable in the morning and there's like a big list here with subsequences not being added yet, to update it. So that's just a little side note of why I choose to do that. So we go to email, we go to subsequence, and then that's basically it. So if we now search, right, we'll get these two records, and then what we'll do is we'll do make a request. Then I just have to find out how to add this tag. So we go tag or category. So updated leads category based on their campaign. So this is the endpoint we need. So we just look at the way it's structured. We take this URL. Copy it into make. It's a post, and then we can remove those dollar signs, those are not needed. So campaign ID, that is what we stored already in the Airtable. So I'll just select it, delete it. Campaign ID, and then lead ID. We already stored that as well. Let's see. No, we didn't store that yet. So let me actually see if we save this. Let's see if we can actually do that in the previous automation I built in the last episode. So reply received. So we can check, is it here? Stats ID. Just look it up, lead. Yeah, SmartLead lead email ID. So yeah, we just forgot to store that. So let's add that as a field. So it's like SmartLead lead ID, single line text, create field. We go back here, refresh this. And there it is, and then SmartLead lead ID. All right, so now it's in there. So any future reply we get, we'll actually have that as a value. So just adding some mock values, going back to the automation we were doing. All right, so we're back at the automation. So now just rerun this module so that it actually pops up. Let's see. And then it's lead ID. There it is. Select that. Add it in, and then obviously we have to add in the API key as well. So what I can do is go to SmartLead, integrations. Oh, that's actually not true. Settings, it should be on the integration page. Copy, and then paste the API key. Then it's a post because we're giving information. And then let me see. So we have to add the category ID. And then pause leads, it would default to false. So we keep that out, so we just add in data, just copy that. So this is just something you need to remember, like with the APIs, usually raw and then JSON, and then the request content, and you can just add it in there as such. And then boom, we got the category ID, but we actually don't have the category ID stored anywhere. So let's actually get that done as well. So usually what I do whenever I need some sort of IDs that I frequently revisit, I actually use a module in Make that is called the data store. So in theory, you can store it in a spreadsheet, you can store it in an Airtable, but since we're only using it in Make, why not just store it here? I think it's the best. So what we'll do is we'll search for a record. We'll add it like this. And then what we'll do is we'll create a little data store that will basically give us, the name we use in Airtable, which is interested, for example, and then we'll link it to the ID that SmartLead uses. So I'll do like SmartLead IDs, create a data structure, add an item, and then I'll say like name, and then I'll say SmartLead ID. Save. And the way we'll set it up is we'll want to match the name, and it's equal to the AI step 2. So we'll use the AI step 2 string, so interested, more information, whatever, and then we'll match it to an ID. So store that. Let's just save for now for a little bit, and then I'll show you guys the data store. We'll go to data store, we'll browse, and then we'll just add them in manually. So it's so if we click on it, actually nothing happens. So what I'll do instead is we'll have to use the API. So to do that, we'll use fetch lead categories. And then, a little trick is you can do this in Make, but you can also just use your browser. So if I just paste in the API key here, then it doesn't fill it out for me, unfortunately. Okay, then I'll just copy this, go here, always hate this stuff. It's like super not useful. Go here, paste, to blur out my API key obviously. So boom, we did it, as you can see. We can see the JSON here, there's this little check mark, pretty print, so we can actually read it. So now we know AI interested, the ID is 6687. So let's fill that in here. Alright, so I added in the SmartLead IDs. Now let's match them up here with the sentiment. So we need to match it up the exact same way to make sure it doesn't error. So also no difference in capitals, that kind of stuff. So the top one is positive. Oh, sorry, I did the wrong one. It's actually this one, so it's interested. More information. And later, save, and now basically Make has a way to know if it sees interested, it can look up the ID, and then SmartLead knows what we're talking about as well. So that was just a quick little fix. So we go back to the AI Inbox Manager, we go back to where we left off, which again was telling SmartLead, what category are we dealing with at the moment. So one thing I actually noticed is that back here, we did only for interested in more information, but since we're also going to just set up the IDs anyway, let's just pass that information back to SmartLead, even if we don't really do anything with it. It doesn't really hurt to see it back in the system. So interest, more information, referral later, and then that's basically it. So going back here into this module, we now have to set up the category ID, which is just super simple, and we just set up SmartLead ID, and we save it. And then, as you remember, we have to set up the last step of this little error table. So we do update a record, and we only update the record if the status code is equal to 200, because 200 means success. So not text operator, but it's the, let's see, equal to. It's a numeric operator. So if it's successful in updating it, then only we basically check it off from our to-do list. So this way we 100% make sure, we don't have, things not going the way we want, especially with this system, right? If we don't accurately, give back to SmartLead the information about a positive reply, we're basically just leaving money on the table. So it's really important it doesn't go wrong. And again, this is why I set it up this way with search and then update. It's just extra safe. So go to emails, and then the only thing we have to update is subsequence add is yes, so it's done. And then the record ID will be the ID from the first step. Okay, then always press the magic wand. So that's basically it. So now every 15 minutes in Airtable, it will look up if there's any sort of change made to the record. So basically if they're categorized by AI, and if it needs to feedback anything to SmartLead, so SmartLead knows what to do. And we can set this up a little bit quicker as well. We could do like every 1 minute, and then maybe we do it during working hours to save a little bit on the operations. But yeah, now this way we can really quickly reply to, just got caught off guard there for a little bit. I thought, why can you not do 1 minute? Because I'm still on the free plan with this, tutorial setup. But yeah, you can set it on 1 minute, just upgrade. If you decide to use Make, by the way, you can use the link down in the description, and I get a small commission, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. But having said that, this way we can really quickly check, is it classified, is the email response classified, and if yes, what should it be doing back in SmartLead, and we give back the value. So that's now set up, now we can set up the different type of consequences that has. Alright guys, so I just finished recording the entire video, but obviously sometimes things go wrong. So basically my computer screen locked, and then I unlocked it after I got some water to record the rest of the video. And obviously my screen is now frozen on the rest of the 25-minute tutorial. So what I'll do instead is I'll just walk you through what I did live, because I'm not going to redo the entire thing. Maybe it's also actually better because it's a little bit more concise. But I just checked, it recorded up until the moment you just saw, which is basically where I add the SmartLead IDs back to SmartLead, so we know if it's interested, more information, whatever. And I walk you through the other steps that I took. So just making sure everything's recording, and now that we're recording, so the next steps I did is basically show you how to set up the more information part of this entire flow. So whenever someone doesn't reply directly, agreeing basically to do the next thing, we are going to be, answering their question, because a more information lead is actually really important. If someone asks you, how does it work with this integration, or have you had any experience in this industry, it's actually a very good sign, because someone is trying to envision what it's like working with you. And if they're doing that, that's great, because then you're close to working with them, right? So basically what I build out is the following. So before we add in someone to the subsequence, we have to basically then write a response to their email that we then feed back to SmartLead. So first step is to basically edit the things, the conditions for the subsequence to activate, because once we add it back into SmartLead, once you say, hey, this is a more information reply, SmartLead will start doing its thing in a matter of seconds, so we don't want to, say, let's start a more information subsequence before actually having written the subsequence response. So this is basically the thing. So what I added in is a more information response field, which is a long text field, and if it's not empty, then we can actually start and give it back to SmartLead. But if it is empty, we won't. And then also it has not been done yet, right? Because otherwise we'll just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So that's the first thing I added to make sure the thing we just built is also up to date with the second step we're now building. And then I added another field in. So what we want to do is we want to write the more information response. So AI step is more information, right? So it needs more information, but the response is still empty. This will then trigger the automation. So the automation that's built for this is the following. So basically what it does, it again searches the records, more information response. and then it will add it to the AI. So the prompt I built for this is the following. So you're an email response writer that answers queries around our product. The most important thing is that you answer concisely and that you keep a curiosity loop open, right? Because you want them to take the next step. And this is something, if you're not doing this manually as well, you really want to have that open loop going, because you don't want to basically, give like a whole presentation on the email and then them ghosting you. You want to keep that curiosity open to get them to do the next step. So to do this, you follow our context provided below, and then you answer with this template. So it says answer to the question. And then if that sounds interesting, are you open to exploring further on the call? And then you can edit this call to action if you want to do, for example, something like, try it out here. You can book a demo with this link, whatever you want. Basically, you can add it in here, or you can keep it out and then already put it in SmartLead. And then I just give the context about the business. I really simply just copied the text that's on my homepage for my SaaS product. It's super simple, but what I want to emphasize is that it's actually, this is the part where you're going to make a difference, right? So if you set this up with like really good instructions, you will have way better responses than just copying your homepage, right? So this is where you put in the time, and this is where you make the difference in terms of results. Because this is the thing that we're going to insert back into the campaign. So getting it back in the campaign, right? So just to show you again, it will be in the sequences, in the subsequences tab. So on the campaign, subsequence, subsequence, more information. We add the lead condition, and then we answer with thank you for your interest, or just hi, first name, whatever you want to do. This is your copywriting style, and then it will put in the variable more information, which is the AI text we just wrote, and then just your signature. And then we can add follow-ups. We can do whatever we want. You can even have the AI write a couple of follow-ups if you want to. You just do like different variables, like more information 2, more information 4. You all give that back to the system. But for now, let's keep it simple. Just add in more information this way. That's basically where I left off. So this wrote the responses, and I can actually show you the responses. So let me open it up. So for example, here the input was not sure about this. Do you have a demo we can watch? This was someone's email reply. And then it's, we currently don't have a pre-recorded demo, but we can certainly arrange a live walkthrough and answer any specific questions you might have. If that sounds interesting, well, I think this is a good response. It's something I would respond as well. If I give it the context of a pre-recorded demo that we do have, for example, like a video link, it could have used it here. Let's look at this one. So here the input was, what's your pricing like? And then our pricing is structured to accommodate various needs. We offer 3 subscription tiers, and then it actually did like this nice little thing. If that sounds interesting, are you open to exploring further on the call? So I answered the question correctly and gave all the context. And then the third one is the input was, are you able to do custom integrations? We offer a highly versatile database, but for custom integration, you would need to discuss your specific requirements in details. If that sounds interesting, are you open to exploring further on the call? So basically it just says, I don't know. So if we give more context, so if we, for example, put in the context frame that, we have integrations with Zapier or whatever, then it would probably have mentioned that, right? So it's all about how much context you give it. And what I mentioned as well in my original recording, which again, it's just me talking and the screen frozen, is that the Assistants API is actually something that's super interesting to use, which is also a OpenAI product, but it is only, you can only set it up with coding. So if you guys want to see a tutorial on that, I'll be happy to do it. But basically the Assistants API, you can upload like PDFs of, for example, your organization's help desk, and it will basically be able to reference that and reply using that information, which, it really mimics almost like a human response writer, because they will also, get the same context basically, and then write a response. So again, the more context you give it, the better, because it's the same as with the human, right? If you put them on the email inbox untrained, they will not know how to respond because they don't know the answer to the question. So same thing with the AI. So that's the thing we built. So super simple. It searches for a record that's in need of a response. It writes the response, it adds the response, and now we need to feed that response back to the SmartLead system, right? We need to add the response to SmartLead. So now I added this here. So add more information response to SmartLead. And basically it says AI step 2 is more information. The more information response field is not empty. So we've already written a response. And the little checkbox I always use, right, to see if we've already done it, is empty, right? So it's now ready to be added. I've added these leads, you know, just random leads to SmartLead as well. So we can actually test it out in a bit. But let me first just show you the integration. So again, it's searching the record on that view, and then it's updating the record on that view as well, right? Updates the record, and it sets a little checkbox so we know it's done. And then for this one, we used the update lead using lead ID. We used this endpoint. And a really quick trick I showed you guys is if you just put this little thing into ChatGPT, it can really easily format it for you. So if you type it into ChatGPT and you say, hey, just give me, reformat this JSON, give me a custom field that's named. In our case, it's going to be named more information, and a string value, so that means text value of, let's say 1, 2, 3, and I will just give you this little formatted thing. So it will actually work when doing your API call. So super easy thing, instead of, you know, figuring like a little space, a little this, you just let the AI write it, okay? So that's where we left off. So I went through it a lot quicker now because I was figuring it out live as we were building it. But you know, again, the recording failed. So let's try this out. Let's see what happens when we add it back to SmartLead. Let's see if we actually get a success. So I get 400, which is not good. Let's see why that is happening. So it says unexpected token in JSON position 226. So that means there's something in the JSON that it cannot give back. So let's see. So it's also 400. It's the same thing. All right. So what I'll just do is I'll do the following. So I'll do copy this. I'll go to chat. All right, I had to do some testing to get it to work, but basically you have to convert the string to make sure it works with JSON. So yeah, it's actually a pretty long one. So if someone wants the exact details, leave a comment down below. I'll basically just export this and then send over a link. But yeah, just going over it really quickly so you can pause the video. So first we remove any like slash back, then any like quotation marks. Then we remove any new lines, we switch them to /n. Then some other type of bracket that's not allowed, another type that's not allowed, and another type that's not allowed. And then we finally put that in here. We also have to add the email variable here because apparently that is required to include in the API call, even though it's already there. No problem though, because it's still, you know, already in the Airtable. The text we added in, and then if the status code is 200, okay, so if it's successful, then we update the Airtable, and then the Airtable is updated with, yeah, basically that this is done. Also, one thing with all of your automations, if you use the search module, make sure to set up a filter on the first step. ID exists to make sure it only runs the rest of the automation when actually some record is in that view. All right, so this actually worked. So now we can see over here, and maybe we can check actually, no we cannot, but then I'll show you here. So this is the one I ran, and as you can see, the more information variable is now here. So if we were to run the subsequence, it will work and it will include the little snippet. So pretty cool. We got that done. And then we can move on to the other parts we have. So for referral, so for this one, it's pretty hard to do. So if they refer someone else and it includes an email address, we could automate it. If it does not include an email address. So the way I propose to do this is actually try and extract the value from the email. So if there's actually an email included or not. And then if there is one included, we can automatically add it to a campaign, which can either be the same campaign or you can make like a different campaign, which I'm going to do in this example. So we're going to read the email with AI to extract email. If yes, add to different campaign. If no, if someone responds like, hi Jan, please reach out to, some email, then we just want to automatically add that. And if not, we want to not do that basically. So, by the way, if you're hearing a chicken sounds in the background, sorry about that. I got this new office and for some reason there's a chicken screaming. So yeah, I'll try to see if I can do something with the audio, but yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna basically build this as the next step before we continue on to the other one. So let's see, so we got this one. Let's just save this one to make sure. I'll just close up some tabs. So basically what we want to do is we want to get an email campaign, and we just always want to have this email campaign be there to reach out to these people. So I would just do like something like, hi, first name, let me see, it's not there. I have to see if this is the right spelling with this tag. I think it's like with the, yeah, it's this one. Hi, first name. Let's do something like this, colleague. Let me spell that right, colleague. Name. Ask me to reach out regarding our, and then you just do like, we do X for Y in that time. I don't know guys, like this is a shit thing, but basically what we want to do is we want to extract first name and we want to extract colleague name from the original email, and then obviously the email as well, and then we can go from there. So I'll name this referral campaign. Referral campaign. And then, this is basically it. Like this is all not really relevant, right? So that will be the referral campaign. All right, so let's get to it. So first of all, we'll add in another view. So in this view, we'll do referral as the view. And then we'll filter and we'll say that the step 2 has got to be referral. And then we have to extract the values. So what I'll do is I'll add in, so I'll call it ref first name, and then ref email. So then we'll go to the scenarios and we'll start with the new scenario. And we'll again do the search. And then that's it. Then we'll do ChatGPT, create a completion. And then, so basically we want to extract the email value, and then the colleague name we don't need to extract because we already have it, right, from the original email, because we already have the first name value there. So it would just be first name from them and then their email. So let's do it like this. So we do create a chat completion, and then we'll do the system. So from this email, please extract. All right, so you're a data extractor. I give you an email that refers me to reach out to someone else based on my initial cold outreach. From the referral email, please extract the email I'm asked to reach out to and find the first name of the person I'm asked to reach out to. Return the values in JSON with 2 keys, and then if it's none, so if there's no email, return none, so we know that they didn't include an email. Or if there's no first name, return there, so that we can actually just do hi there, which is just an easy way to get around that. So extract from this email, and then that's basically it. And then the max tokens, we don't care. All right, so let me actually make an example for this. So we add a new row, or let's actually just copy a row. And then we put it into referral, and then we change the text and we say like, hey, thanks for the message. Please reach my colleague. I'm not spelling it right. I'm not that dyslexic. All right, so I'll create a quick example. Hey, thanks for the message. Please reach out to my colleague Jan on jan@tutorial.com. And then actually I'll do another one where I do, I'll just say reach out to my colleague on, let's see if it's actually smart enough to extract the first name from that. I'll delete this one, and then I'll actually make another one where it's not included. So I'll make a duplicate, and I'll change this text, please reach out to my colleague of marketing department. I don't know. Thanks. All right, let's see what happens. So we got 3 referral leads to test this on. Are they showing up in the view? Let's see that as well. Yes, they are. And then they're gonna fill out the ref and the part. We'll do that later. Let's just run it now and get an example output, see if it actually works for a bit. All right, so the first one is perfect. So it got the email and it got the first name. The second one, it did it as well, only it didn't capitalize the first name, which I'll add to the prompt. And then the third one, it did null, which is correct. All right, cool. Then I'll just add in return the values JSON with 2 keys. And then just make sure to always use proper capitals for the first name. Cool. So now we've done that. Then we have to parse this response. So why are we doing it? Why are we asking it to return a JSON? Is so that we can then use those different variables to fill back out into the Airtable. So parse JSON. The JSON string will be basically these choices. And then we need to add a data structure. So that's fname, and I think we named it ref email. Pretty sure. Yeah, ref email and fname. So fname and ref email, save. OK. And then I'm not sure why it has that error. Oh yeah, probably because it's the last one in the thing, which is usually not the case. So we do update the records. And then we go to the base. Record ID is obviously the ID from the first step. And then we go here to ref first name. So that's first name and then ref email. And then we're basically good to go. So obviously that doesn't account for an instance where they would mention maybe multiple people. So you can make this a little bit more complicated if you want to, but I think for now this is good enough. So yeah, let's just run it. And then we get an error. Source not valid JSON. Okay, it's because they outputted it, as you can see. So it gave JSON in there as well. We don't want that. So we want to say, I'll just add here only just something in caps just to hopefully fix it. No, still not good. So only responded for JSON, nothing else. Start. Maybe like this. Yep, so now it does it. And as you can see, it is properly adding in everything. And then with the third one, it should have updated it with, let's see, it should have updated it with none. So actually I can quickly see it here. So it actually didn't update it with none. So let's see what happened there. So the third one, we just got back an empty string, as you can see, because it said, what did it say, choices. So it did do Jan Jan, and then let's actually make one more example where there is an email, but there's no first name, right? Because that's also interesting to see. So we say, hi, thanks for the message. Please reach out to my colleague of marketing departments on info@company.com, right? That's a good example. Let's try it again. Yeah, now it's working. So this is also one of the things why I like, using the search thing, because if you would get an error like this, it would just continue working anyway. So yeah, hi there, and then no email, and then hi there, and then info@company. So I did it perfectly, which is amazing. So what I would do then is, for the next step, I will filter out if the ref email column contains no email, or maybe if it doesn't contain an @ whatever, something like this. So we know, we can't do it that way. And then, like I said in the document, we can either, I'm not going to do that in this video because it's, that's easy to do. But you can add it to like some sort of to-do list, right? For someone to manually maybe find something from the marketing department, or you can just decide to be lazy and not do anything with it, right? But now that we have this information, now we want to add them to the campaign. So let me write the next automation for that as well. Yeah, we can go from there. So I'll actually turn on my lights. It's getting dark in here. Right, so this is extract referral. So save. I know I spelled referral wrong again, but who cares at this point? Right, so we add another. I'm gonna add another automation to this. So yeah, basically now that we have this, we need to just change the records a little bit. So we want to have and referral and are empty, so they're not used. I mean, you can just do one, because if one gets filled, the other gets filled. But anyway, all right, then I'll make a duplicate view, and I'll say referral add to SmartLead. All right. Now I'll make a little checkbox, and I'll call it ref add to SmartLead. And now I'm using caps. Let's not do that. Let's keep it the same. SmartLead checkbox. Create a field. We leave it open. And we change this to is not empty, right? We need both of them not to be empty. And then we actually, no, we need ref to, so that's fine. Ref first name is not empty, so there's some value in there, meaning the other automation ran. And then this does not contain no email. Boom, so now we got the ones that we have. And we have to also add in, of course, that this one is not checked yet, so our automation hasn't ran. So then we just simply need to make an automation that adds a lead to a campaign, which is, to be honest, quite simple. But yeah, let's just do it anyway. So we have it all in one video. So LEAI, the base, and then we go to the view again, of course, like you guys know by now. View is referral add to SmartLead. ok. Then we add a HTTP module again to make an API call. So let's see how we can do this. So it might be update a lead or add a lead. Add leads to a campaign by ID. Let's see, so the campaign ID is required, the API key is required, and then the lead list is formatted as such. Cool. So let's do it that way. So I'll copy this API key. And here you can decide, if you want to do it like this, or you want to make a different campaign. You could, of course, also do it similarly to the more information we just did, right? Like you just put in this, or actually you can't because it's a subsequence. No, so it's got to be a new campaign, or you add them to the same campaign. You just leave out this like colleague name. I think it's actually pretty sweet to have that in there. So yeah, we're just going to do the URL. We're going to get the API key again for the, I don't know how many time today. I'm just not going to edit it out. I'm just going to reset it afterwards. Hope I don't forget, so you guys mess up my account. So campaigns, it's got to be campaign ID. So the campaign ID in this case, obviously it's not going to be the campaign ID here. So if you want to add them to the same campaigns, just send them the exact same message, or maybe a little bit different, right? Because you use spin tags or something. Then you can just use this campaign ID. That way this automation will just keep working, right? So whenever you start a new campaign, it will always add a referral lead from any of the campaigns to the same campaign again. In our case, we're going to do this little campaign. So just check out the thing here, and we'll just always use this campaign. So I'll hard code it, so to say, in here. And then we'll do a post, raw, JSON, and then the content. So this is where it gets a little bit, I wouldn't say tricky, but so we need to format this correctly. So let me see. All right, so now I'm back in the game. So it was a bit of a hassle, and then we do colleague name. And in this case, it's going to be the original name, right? So the original person that replied, that's the one we're going to mention. And let me actually see if that's a different. So actually just have like a name field, not a first name field. So yeah, we should actually probably split that, because otherwise it's going to be like their full name. I'm just going to skip this for now, but you can basically do this when assigning the initial webhook, and you can make 2 fields instead of 1. It's probably better. Let's just keep it simple right now. I'll just use name, or you can use like an Airtable formula to get like the first name. But yeah, I'll just leave like this. Ignore global block list. Let's do false, because we don't want to ignore the block list, right? We don't want to put anyone on there that we should not be contacting. Ignore duplicate leads in other campaigns. Let's keep that on true, right? Because let's say we're already reaching out to this person. We might still want to mention that their colleague reached out to us, right? So these are some of the settings you can play with. So what I'll do now is I'll just copy this, and then I'll go to ChatGPT, and I'll ask it to edit this JSON, remove all fields that are not first name, email, and colleague name. I can't spell, guys, sorry. All right, awesome. So now we got the JSON corrected, and it should be good to go. And then we add it to the campaign. So let's check again. So we got the campaign, we got the campaign ID hard coded, the lead list looks good. Then we'll update the Airtable again, right? To make sure it's checked off and that the system knows we updated it. So let's go to emails. As you can see, guys, from the background, I've been working on this for quite some time today. So I'm not trying to rush it, but I just want to go through it as efficiently as possible. So yeah, referral add to SmartLead is done. Right, let's check it out. Usually whenever I test an automation, I just run one at a time. So we can run it, and then we see 200, so that means success. Let's actually add that in here as well, right? To be a bit more precise with everything. So the status code is 200. And here we also want to do ID exists, right? So it doesn't error when we don't have anything to add. Cool. All right, let's check the campaign. So if we go to import leads now, we can see API imported 1 lead. And then if I just click out of this and I go to lead list, we can see Jan add tutorial, and I can see custom colleague name is actually empty because that was not filled out in this field. But now if we do it again, let's see, let's fill it out here. So this is Peter, that's my colleague, and this is Pete. Then if we run it 2 times and we go to this campaign, we just hit a refresh, then Peter and Pete are in there. And then for some reason the other one just disappeared. I'm not sure about that. Maybe because it has the same email address that I overrid it. That's probably it. I'm actually curious to see. Yeah, it's probably it because it has the same email. So yeah, that's basically it. Now it's added to the referral campaign with that information, and we can automatically start reaching out to them and just have this running. So then for the to-do list, so what you can do here, like again, I don't want to go into that too much because it's quite easy, but obviously like the same way you could add this, we can just duplicate this and do something like referral, and then something like do manual, like I'm not even sure why I'm using those little lines, but it's nice. So we don't say does not contain, but we say, or we say for example, does not contain add, so that we have, right, whatever it says, no email, or it says like there is no email. Sometimes it's a bit, you know, it's the AI is not always accurate, as in it doesn't always produce the same thing. It is accurate, but it doesn't always produce the same thing. So no email, and then, you know, you can have someone check this and they're like, oh, please message. Okay, they don't seem too interested, maybe let's skip it. But if they're like, oh, I talked to my CEO Bob about this, please send him an email, and for some reason they don't include his email address, then, you know, you can still have someone follow up. Right, cool. Then we're almost there. So now we're at later. So this is an interesting one. It's pretty similar, I would say, to the referral one. So we want to, again, we want to have something read the email, and then so with later, let's say someone responds like, hey, reach back out to me in next February or something. We can do 2 things. So what I'll do here is I'll show you guys how to extract the date, and then I'll also show you how to trigger something whenever that date hits. And then if you want to add any consequences to that, you can do the same thing we just did, right? So you can either add them to a new campaign, add them to the same campaign, or you can, you know, do something manual with it, right? So I'm not going to do that part again. So I just want to, you know, show you how you can basically schedule it for some action afterwards, okay? So we're gonna read the email, and then we're gonna extract the date to re-engage, and then we're gonna have a trigger in Airtable to re-engage. All right, so let's go here, and then first of all we're gonna do the extraction. So this is gonna be the later. We're gonna filter, and we're gonna add the condition that, of course, the category we made in like the first tutorial, let's see if I'm still recording, yes, is later. So let me make an example for this. So we duplicate the record, we set it on later. Boom, so now we have the later here, and then I'll add a checkbox. Or actually I'll add a date field, so date resume, to fill out by the AI. And then this is the to-do list, right? So we'll add in that the date resume is empty. All right, let's also write like an example text. Hi, thanks for this message. Please reach out end of August. Not in the office right now. Please reach out end of, let's say, Q4, right? Let's see how well we can do this. What else would someone say? Maybe like a variable. So maybe something like reach out, please reach out in a week or two. And then maybe do like a couple months. Let's see what it does, right? Reach out in a couple of months. Cool. So now we have the date resume, and now we're just gonna do it again. All right, so now we'll do the same thing. We're gonna go with the search again. So we're gonna do search records. So I think you guys know this by now. All right, we're gonna go to the view again. And again, like I think most of you will agree that because we made all of these views, it's actually relatively easy to keep track what we're doing, right? Because if we didn't have all of those views, it would be hard, right? So I would say later, we can also do something like later, and then we can do like a set date, right? Because we know, okay, this is where we're gonna set the date. So we're gonna do OpenAI, we're gonna create a completion again, of course. We're gonna take the good model again, and then we're gonna add the systems role. So the prompt will be, all right, so I read a quick prompt. Your job is to read the response to outreach emails, determine which is the best time to reach back out again. You're going to be given the current date and the indicated time frame, or an email with an indicated time frame, and then please return it in this format so that we can just paste it right into Airtable. Then I'll do user, and then I'll give them the email. So that's the email, let me see, reply text. So it's gonna be current date, and then I'm gonna do reply, or email reply. And then with current date, let me just insert that. So in Make, you can just quickly go to this little date and time thing, and you can just say now. And then actually, to keep it clear, I just want to give it the date in the same format. So this is obviously the European format. Doesn't matter if you do the American format, European format, whatever. But you just want to have it, be consistent, because usually when you work with these LLMs, keep it consistent, it works well. So I'm just going to do the format date thing, and then I do the now, and then I format it the same, right? So I say date, or day, month, and then year. Cool. Save, and then we're going to update with the response we get. So update the records. All right, let's see what happens. I'll just start with 1, so if it messes it up, we don't have to edit so much. And let's see what happens. All right, so we get an error because the date is invalid. So we're gonna have to ask it to give back a better date. Based on the time frame given in the email, you should reach out again end of August. Let's select the date. Okay, yeah, so that's good. End of August, that's like the last day. I think that's fine. So that's all good. And then it knows the year correctly as well. The only thing we have to add in is that it obviously only outputs the date, right? Because if it's going to output like some text with that, then it's not going to work. Only output. So the or my grandma dies, I added in because it understands the severity of it, because it's been trained that way. So as you can see, it gets it right away. Yeah, just one of those funny things. But as you can see, it now added it in the date. So I can just copy this and then just say date resume. And now you can see, yeah, it actually selected the 25th, so end of August. The other time it selected 28th. I mean, that's not a huge difference. I think that's good. Let's see how it does with the other ones. So I'm just gonna make this into like 5, save, and then let's see how it does. So this one it did, hey, thanks, message, please reach me end of Q4, and it gave us the 20th of December, which is good. 7/7, so that's like, hey, thanks for the message, in a week or 2. So that's in a week, not in 2. Still, I would say pretty good. We could give some instructions to always, you know, push it out to the maximum or something. And then this one, it is thanks for the message in a couple of months, and then it does literally a couple of months, so 2 months. So again, maybe we can give it a little bit more context. Like if someone says a couple of months, always do 3. I mean, a couple of months, you know, literally speaking, obviously means 2 months. So yeah, I'm overall, I'm pretty happy with this. So now we know when to resume it. Then what I'll do is I'll just show you how to trigger it. So what you want to have is basically a view, and then you want to name it something like later, and then something like start now or whatever. And then you just want to simply do a condition where date resume is before, and then you do today. So if it's before today, that means it's already been. So it means that 1 day after it set the date, we'll now have this trigger. And then, you know, for you, it's super easy. You can do again what we've been doing all this time, where it's like search and then update. You just add a little check mark. You know, I can do that. Checkbox where it's like resumed or something, and then you know, we add that as a condition as well. And then boom, you have it. You can do trigger, you can start a new campaign, you can notify like your SDR, you can put a task in your CRM, you can do whatever you want, obviously. But it's like a super easy way to do the later stage. So we're almost there, almost at the end. So we have out of office. So out of office, you want to do it very similarly to this one. So I'm actually also not going to build out this one because it's like 99% the same. The only thing is you have to change the prompt, obviously, to extract the date. And then what you want to do is have a similar thing like this, but you want to use a different endpoint. So I built this in my agency a couple weeks ago, actually, and it works really well. And it's resume lead by campaign ID. So you just want to use this endpoint, and then you want to resume the lead just right away. And then basically the campaign will continue. So if someone was out of office and then comes back, basically like 1 day later, your campaign will resume and it will send up like the next step in the sequence. So this works super well. You don't mention anything like, oh, I saw you were out of office, blah, blah, blah. You can do that with the knowledge you now have from this video, right? You can make like a different campaign and do it that way. But I think it's still fairly nice and easy to implement. And then I would say not interested in unsubscribe. It's also very easy. So I'm actually going to cut this video here because I think those are like the most interesting ones I've already done, because these again are similar. So not interested, we don't do anything with that, right? So just leave it be. And then unsubscribes, this is really important. So if someone says, you know, take me off your list, it's really important to do it, right? Just to be compliant by law, obviously. But also deliverability wise, you want to keep following up with these people. So for that, you build something very similar to basically everything we've built so far. The only thing is you add them to the unsubscribe list. So the way to do that is also with the API. And you say unsub or block list, it's called actually. So you can add the lead or the domain to the block list with this endpoint. And you do it very similarly to how we've done it, right? You make a view, you add in like a little checkbox when it's done, and then if the condition is, unsubscribe, and the checkbox is not checked yet, then the automation will run, and then you will do the API call, and then it will check off the box. So that's basically it. Yeah, I didn't really want to end it as fast as I just did, but I think you know, I got the point across really well how you can do this, and those final few steps should be good to go for yourself to finish up and get the entire system working. So if there's any questions you have from this tutorial, please leave them down below. I'm happy to make another video zooming in on one of the parts, or maybe just in general, like anything Airtable or with the AI related. Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. So if you want help building out systems like this, similar systems to this at your agency, you can check the links down below on how I can help you. And yeah, I'll be happy to help you. I mean, these types of systems, maybe not necessarily this reply management system, but you can basically do this in all of your service delivery, right? Like, think about the process step by step and automate as much of it as possible. Keep some humans in the loop to keep the quality high, and you know, you can buy back your time. And yeah, when you have more time, you can focus more on growing your company again, or you can just chill by the beach, right? Whatever you want. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, again, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, it really helps, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.